Greetings, friends. Thank you so much for joining us live. Welcome to Michelle Kandell. I'm so excited you're here. Gorgeous.
Thanks for letting me be here and inviting me.
Yes, of course. And today our topic is tune in to the multi-dimensionality that is within you, creating your own frequency. So we're going to go in some topics and discuss the details about it. Is there anything you want to share, Michelle, before I introduce you to the audience?
I think whatever needs to be said will be said with your questions that we've discussed, and I can add a little about myself even in answering those as well.
Awesome. Love it. So Michelle's part of our board of directors and she serves our Midwest. And we have a new book being released very, very, very soon. And it's The Master Sandals, Book 2. So I'm super excited to ask you some questions and get into the details. I just want to jump off the screen. Oh, goodness. So we'll start with the first question. When creating The Master Sandals, Book 2, what is it that you felt in the wholeness and creating your own frequency with the writings?
Okay. So this sort of like will go into how the book was written, because it's not written in a traditional way that, most people are going to assume that it is.
Mhm.
Obviously, it is not a fiction book. All of it is nonfiction, if you would want to put it like that, nonfiction / biography. And so it's written in a way that I I have to connect with my higher self, my spirit, source, God, whatever you want to call it. Basically, I'm just a vessel, and I allow the other aspects of myself to write through me. So I listen to Dad, Izzy, speak in my head, and things are written. So there's very few parts that are actually written by me as like the normal person. I did write my own bio that is in the book, and but the rest of it is pretty much written by the non-physical, by source, God, spirit, the same connecting piece that we all have that's at the core of our being, right? So I mean, I had to be connected to not only what you would call Dad or Izzy, I had to be connected to myself in this writing. That was necessary. Like, if I did not trust my own inner voice, this would not be possible, to have written the book at all, and it is an incredible privilege, really, to even be invited to write. I mean, the subject matter is everything to me, and to be able to be a part of that and then have that go to humanity, just so beautiful. So I don't know if I answered your question in that, but I think
Of course you did. Of course you did. Wonderful. And that kind of leads into the next question. How can one in the audience that's watching the live stream or the replay tune to their multidimensionality within them?
Right.
Not necessarily write a book or do all those sort of things, but
Right.
it's all in the creation of who they are, right?
Yeah, just in your daily life, you can do this. And the thing is that it's actually very simple. It's simpler than what, like, it's so simple that that's what causes a lot of questions from humanity and from people, because basically all you have to do as a person is believe that you do have that connection to the voice, because your thoughts are creating your reality. If you don't think that you're connected, you're not going to be. Like, you are, but your experience will be that you are not connected. So you just have to first believe that there is the same God, source, universe, whatever you want to call it, higher self, that there's only one of those, and it's in all of us. It is our true nature, what all of us really are. And so to be able to have that access, that was already given. I mean, um, if you identify as Christian, you would understand that the Holy Spirit was given, just to use a different term for it. But basically, as a normal person, you just have to believe that that voice is there, and it doesn't come as an audible voice. It comes as thoughts in your head. And a lot of the time, the way that you can distinguish between those thoughts and your own thoughts, what you consider to be your own, is that sometimes, or because we're so negative usually, and we're taught all of these conditioned voices, since childhood, a lot of the times the voice of spirit, higher self, whatever, is a lot more positive than what you would normally hear. It would tell you good things, good, positive, loving things about yourself, versus the normal things that you hear, or if you don't hear anything, just the normal thoughts that are coming to you. So, I mean, that's the way to sort of distinguish between our normal thoughts and then the voice of spirit. So everybody has this connection. There's not one of us that's more special, that's more connected. None of that. That's not a thing. All of us are one. We were all given the same gifts. It's just a matter of if we've tapped into them or not. So, but you have to first believe. You first have to believe that there is that voice and that you have the ability to be connected. And that's part of what I'm here to do, is tell you that you are connected. You can't not be connected.
And what I've discovered too is when you believe, it's that faith that really plants those seeds even more and more. And what I've learned too is at first it can get kind of silent. It's like a whisper, right? It's like, are you listening? Are you
Right.
really listening? And then it gets, hey, are you listening to me? And then you're like, wait, is this the higher self, Holy Spirit, however you want to say it, right? And you become more comfortable, I find, as you believe and trust in it.
Yes, exactly. And it's quiet at first whenever you first start, because it understands your resistance to it. It understands humans. It
Yes.
fully understands humanity and all other races and everything. So the thing is that it's always going to honor our free will. If
Mhm.
we're here not believing that it's possible, or we're resisting hearing the voice, it will stay back and it will wait until we are ready, just because it is honoring our free will. And in time space reality here, free will trumps all. So
Absolutely.
that's the highest form of love, is, and it's being honored by that God that is in you.
Indeed. And I find as you give yourself permission to trust and to acknowledge and to ask, it is all given,
Yes.
whichever it is. Even if you can't conceptualize it, it's like, oh, I was thinking that, and here it is, it shows up.
Yeah.
Right? Or you ask for it, it's like, oh, there it is, right? And what I've learned too with most humans is there are so many questions that they don't even believe it when they're asking it. It's like, show me a sign. 11111. It's like, where's the sign?
It can't be. But no, like, that's literally it. If that's what resonates with you, like, spirit will always do whatever resonates with the individual.
Every
You know,
time.
yeah,
And,
exactly. It tailors
and
it
it,
to you.
yeah, I find sometimes the messages come in so many things, people, places, things, damn it, objects, animals, all of it. And then when we're really listening to that multi-dimensionality within us, it's endless.
Yeah, exactly. And it transitions and it takes different forms, and the voice changes as you are able to allow more and a deeper state of that same thing. So it's
Absolutely.
with you, because everything's always an expansion. Everything's infinite. So
Yeah, exactly. And it's like, are you ready to co-create or just stand and try and still believe, right? And it's like, I want to co-create. Let's get in with the clay and do whatever it is we're doing, right? So oh, I love it. And that goes to our next question. As a multidimensional being, one with the humankind who are seeing in their screens while watching this live stream, what can they do to tune to their natural frequency, that innate or God consciousness or higher self, Holy Spirit, any of it.
Okay. Yeah. So aside from just listening, like in your own head, like what we just described,
Mhm,
um, I think there's also the dimension of it that could be acknowledged, that people, okay, I'm going to try to phrase this in a way that's more understandable. But God, source, spirit is in everyone and everything. So even whenever you're interacting with another physical being, like, and not just listening only in your head, like you and I are interacting right now, and we're interacting with the audience right now, right?
yes.
So they're listening, to acknowledge that God does speak through every single person. That is important as well, because God being also you, because you and God are one.
Mhm,
Um, so, if you start believing what resonates with you, what feels good to you, what feels peaceful to you, like if anything that we're saying does, then that's also a form of, facilitating your trust to be able to listen to a different voice,
mhm,
um, than just your own normal daily thoughts. So, I mean, it's not always just in your head, but as other people speak to us, um, it is that same voice, even if it's in a different state of awareness or state of being, because God is infinite. The universe is infinite. There are infinite states of every single thing. So, and all of it being one, all of it being you. Uh,
Are
so,
you? Are all
yeah,
of us?
yeah, whatever specific angle you're looking at it from.
Yeah.
But yeah, there's all these angles and different perspectives of the same thing. And so to be able to, you're always experiencing through everybody else, yourself, just in a different state than what you're currently at. And because you yourself are multidimensional, um, each individual human is as well, every single being, you know, they are all multidimensional and we are all interconnected. So it's speaking to yourself. Yourself is always speaking back to you, whether it's through a being or just through your head. So that's another thing. Whatever is going to facilitate your trust in listening to something, more loving, unconditionally loving, uh, that will be used on your individual path, and everybody's path is different when it comes to that. Everybody has basically like a similar enough path, but it's tailored to the individual experience, and that's the reason for that is so that everything maintains to be infinite. So, really, you know, you define at your certain state that you're at what is true for you by how peaceful and good it feels to you at your core.
Mhm.
So you know that you're on the right path. You know that you're listening to the right voice if you have peace. And you're the only person that is able to determine that for your life. So
And I
your own path, yeah.
and I find when you have that internal inner peace with your own multidimensionality, it gets so playful. It's like, right? And it becomes freeing because then you're not binded to a body or a voice or a sensation. It becomes the entirety of it all. And if we're willing to listen or to comprehend or to navigate and explore, it gets so delightful because you're like, ooh, it's like trying new food, right? Like, are you willing to palate or digest new parts of yourself? Those different degrees or aspects. And I find the more of us that are tuning to this, it becomes, it gets me so excited because it's like, why take yourself so seriously?
Yeah. All of you.
Yeah, exactly. It's like, well, okay, this person's losing their stuff, and you're like, how are you doing? They're like, I'm losing it. And you're like, it's okay. Right. Because that's how our higher self or speaks to us, or we can be really, really happy. And it's like more momentum builds on that happiness or that joy or that peace or that freedom. or bondage, depending on which end you're picking up. You could bind yourself up even more, or you can let it all loose and find that freedom
Right.
in these moments of being in a physical body.
Yeah, I mean, that's a good point too, that if you're going to listen to a voice that is not loving, voice meaning even just the thoughts of the collective,
Mhm.
that everybody, whatever you side with your attention is what will be manifested in your life. So, and that's the thing, if you're not consciously choosing on purpose to tune in to a higher state of the same awareness that is you, then yeah, you're going to have all of the same bombardment of the same thoughts that come to the entire collective of humanity. And without trying anything, without doing anything, it's still making a choice. And that's what we call unconscious choice. But it is still a choice to choose to do nothing, basically. And so you will still have an experience uh, in your own life, even if you choose to do nothing, never choose to evolve, you'll still get where you're at.
And in some sense, you still will evolve through your conscious awareness, just not to the same degree that is
Yeah,
potential for all of humankind or all species or all kinds, right?
yeah. And the collective of humanity is set to raise the consciousness anyway. There are things in place for that. So yes, humanity is set to evolve still, even without specific conscious attention on everybody's part.
Yeah. I get so excited. It's like, hey, you're evolving whether you like it or not. It's like, are you willing to get on that natural path? Because it is everyone's trajectory, right? Like it's
Yeah,
up to us to choose whether or not we're willing to co-create or consciously, unconsciously co-create. Either way, us just being here is more than enough. And in tuning to that frequency to be able to listen to that a voice or understanding of who the deeper meaning of why we're really here and who we're really here, like in remembering that as
yes,
it gets so simple after all. It's like, oh, hi, how you doing? Right? It's like I'm gonna move with that Holy Spirit or that God conscious connection or innate intelligence, right? And
yeah,
for me personally, I don't know about you, but I feel pretty similar. If something doesn't feel good, you're like, clear it. What makes
yeah,
you feel good? Right? I know
yeah,
for me, if my thoughts don't feel nice, I wave my hand and I'm like, remove these thoughts. And then it's a whole new thought pattern. And then I'm like, I like these thoughts.
yeah.
uh,
You are the creator of what you experience, whether you realize that you're the creator or not. And that's, I think, what is confusing, um, at least at first, for most of humanity, because they're creating without realizing and without being aware that they're creating. So becoming aware of what's going on already is the first step. And just being able to step back with an objective viewpoint and just be the witness to yourself, even, and not specifically side with or think that you are the thoughts in your head. That's going to be one of the first steps, that you can do to helping yourself.
Indeed. And I find when the thoughts come in, then feelings arise. Right. And I find most of humanity is still in that sort of like negative, or I don't want to say negative, but in a way that's a lot of anger, turmoil, or resentment, because they think that either us or anyone else that are in these conscious connections, that it's not obtainable for them. And meanwhile, it is more than obtainable for them. They just have to be willing to acknowledge and allow it. And what I'm really learning lately is acceptance, right? It's like accepting you're in these non-physical, physical bodies. And you're this anchoring bridge point of this conscious connection. It's like, whoa. It's like, right? And then when you understand that palatable or understanding to your own core being, that as you ask for new experiences or an evolvement or like a deeper meaning to why we're here, then it becomes even more understand, like it becomes an understanding and an understanding of what we're truly doing here in this oneness, in this wholeness that we have always been, right? We were just conditioned to believe it's outside or separate. Meanwhile,
Yes.
it's all synced in within us. And we have to be willing to give ourselves that space to be like, hey, that's who I am, or da 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 da. And what I'm finding too lately is it's a daily communion with the body, right?
Yeah.
Like it's not
But
something I can
hmm?
it's not something I could do today and then maybe another time next week. It's like each moment until you get to a point where you're like, you fall asleep in that same vibrational countenance and you wake up in that same vibrational countenance.
Yeah.
And it takes work because it's like a muscle.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, we have spent years, um,
Decades.
yes, decades. Most people, we were taught a certain way, without even our parents meaning to teach us a certain way, as they were unaware as well. They didn't do it on purpose. They were just following the same conditioning that was taught to them. And that doesn't make it right. But at the same time, you have to realize in a way that there is innocence there on the part of what, the people who did teach us. But we can become aware of the things and choose to be conscious. And that does take a lot of transformation on the individual, which is a definite choice. Nobody's going to transform if they're not interested in it genuinely. And that goes back to the book as well. There's a lot of information in there about transformation. And some of my own experiences are listed in the book as described by my non-physical team. And then I have a little section where I respond and basically confirm, it's that I'm saying, yes, what was written through me is true for my life. But yeah, you have to be willing to transform if you're interested. And if not, that's not wrong either. Whatever you choose is the right choice for your life, for your path. We're not here judging anybody just because we're talking about consciousness and, you know, this stuff and how we wrote the book and everything. Um, that's not a judgment toward anybody else. Uh, if whatever resonates with you is the right path for you, and I will support that. I'm not here to be like, oh, I know all this stuff and here's all this information and you're not doing that. No, that's not the way that I look at any of this. This is what I've chosen for my life, but just because I chose it doesn't mean that you don't have free will to choose something else. And I will always honor the free will of what anybody chooses.
Yeah. And I find too the gift is everyone's on their own path and we're all fully supported and
Yeah.
everything is provided for as you connect to that larger part or that macro or micro part of you. Because when you are in your own network or your own frequency, everything is put forth for whomever, if they decide to do it or not. And
Yeah.
that's the difference I've learned today in that transformation, right? We're like transurfing all of space-time reality. And it's like, right? And it's like, whoa, how's it going? Or some people are like, I don't want to do this anymore. And that's what I'm learning lately is as we have these transformational periods or connections within ourselves, we are ever evolving. It's
Yeah.
becomes a revolutionary with our own multi-dimensionality. It's like, okay, what am I willing to go and move through? It's in some senses, those breakthrough moments of that transformation. Because what I've discovered lately is a lot of people don't witness their own transformation. It's seen outside of them first. And then they're like, whoa, really? And then they have to go back and understand that they've been transforming this entire time. And they
Yeah.
will continue to.
Yeah, I think another thing to point out as we talk about transformation is that it's not something to be forced. We have seen over the years of history how force in any capacity never works. It never produces loving results. It
Ever.
produces wars or competition. It's just not the right approach. Force is a form of fear, so it never works. So as we write about in the book transformation and talk about that, it's not saying, oh, well, you have to choose this or else. That's not the point. However, it is important for those people interested in helping other people or helping the rest of humanity, even the rest of the races that exist. But yeah, it's important to me because that's the path that I have chosen for myself. I want to help people. How can we help other people? Really only one way, and that's through transforming ourselves, because we're one. We don't have any say so over someone else's life and their free will. We can never disrupt that. That's not the loving thing to do. We would never want that to be taken away from us. So the only way that we can utilize free will in this reality is then to transform ourselves, to see things differently, see a different perspective of the same thing that's happening, and be willing to make changes in our own lives. And this is not about the normal things that people say about self-care. Oh, I'm going to take a bath, or oh, I'm going to, dress nicely. Although those things are very beautiful and there's nothing wrong with those, and they're certainly a support. Really focusing on loving yourself, and what that means is letting go of the limitations, becoming aware of the limitations that you have always followed subconsciously, unconsciously, and releasing those. Basically our true nature is love for ourselves and other people. So if that's not what's happening, that will be shown back to you through the people around you. But they are a mirror. That's true. A lot of people write about the mirror aspect of everyone around us. But yeah, the point and the reason for transformation, it would have to resonate with the individual. It's not, this is an instruction, you have to follow this. This is what spirit says. No, this is for those people who are interested, that have already chosen within themselves that this resonates with them. We're not ever here to force something on somebody else, even though that person is me. I have to allow them their free will as I would want that done to me. Otherwise, I'm literally taking the free will away from myself as well. So transformation, it comes as a form of self-love, and transforming one, you have to transform the one in the mirror first before you will see it reflected on the outside in the people around you or in the entire world. So that's the important step. And that's why we're writing about this, because ourselves is exactly where we have control over, right? That's where we were given jurisdiction or free will, so that's important to note.
Absolutely. And I find when you tune to this free will and nature of who we are, becomes the divine will. Thy will be done. Yeah. And then it becomes a sequence of events that, like, the free will's kind of gone. You were this pillar of light. You were this conduit of God's source energy. And it's like, it's our world is our oyster. The only thing that limits us is our mind and our heart, because we've been conditioned and distorted to believe that we're not worthy, or to have this, or to be that, or to do this. And anything anyone wants to do, it's already theirs. They have to be willing to believe that it's possible, that they can deserve that and be that, or co-create that. And transformation is such a beautiful tool, because you're transcending your form. You're not just this physical body, you're the entirety of all of it. So if it gets a little frustrating or upsetting, it's because I've learned for myself, when I get to that point, it's because I'm trying to control, or the human's trying to resist. And I've learned, when we move aside and have that awareness of the infinite mind, the one universal mind, right? It becomes so simple, because you're not resisting anymore, because you're open to the transformation. You're open to the transcending space and time and reality as is. And the greatest gift is, as you tune to it, your family are like, whoa, where's this wonderful woman coming from? Oh, honey, da, 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 or this and that, right? Or friends, or a family of light. And it just keeps expanding and expanding because each heart we touch, literally, metaphysically, metaphorically, any of that, it's like, whoa, that's there too. Yeah. It's always been there. Yeah. Right. And this kind of leads to our next question. In this transformation experience while writing this book, how can one learn to express that within their own daily lives? I know we've touched it in so many areas.
Okay, so you're talking about the like personal transformation, like
Or
the
just in
process.
general, like Michelle, the infinite Michelle, all of it, right? Because I know most people that may watch this, or some, are like, well, how is this book reading through my head? Like, how do I,
Yeah,
right?
'cause that's been said. It's basically
Yeah.
like when you read the book head, and that will be it. That's just the way it works.
Yes.
Like that's the there's not really gonna be a good answer for why it works that way, because it's not meant to be understood. And I think that's one of the greatest points is humans want to control things, because that's what they were taught to do
Mhm,
unconscious. So it's not really their fault, but that's sort of the default,
mhm,
that comes in everybody. But to be comfortable with not understanding like why something is the way it is and just to literally trust blindly, that's essentially what we're talking here. And that's talked about in the book as well. You can't move forward. There's only a certain capacity that the human mind has to understand things, and we are literally bringing here things that are not for the human mind, can't be comprehended by the human mind. But that's the way that things will work for expansion. That's just the way it was designed, and that has to be accepted in order to move forward. So yeah, the book will speak in your head because that's the design, and it will change things for you in a way that you probably won't directly understand, because it is part of this same consciousness that you are. It's a different state of yourself that is speaking to you and being able to commune with you, in a
mhm.
different, because you look at some of us that have been doing this, for the past 4 or 5, however many years, and we didn't have books to read. There's no books written about this, so that as a tool, literally, it will make a huge impact on humanity. Anybody that puts that book in their hands, and I recommend that you read book 1 as well. That you can find on Amazon. It's called My Master's Sandals by Israel Kelly and Mario Ramos. So please look that up. That's sort of a brief history of, this is what book 1 looks like. Um, it's a history of transformation of Israel through his life, and it sort of precedes book 2, which then takes off into the master's sandals, so that it changes from my to thee. And that's sort of seeing source as outside of yourself first. uh, my master, like, so there's a master outside of me, and then book 2 is the master, where you become the master of your own life, and you recognize that it's not outside of you, but that is you. And the book goes through things about, it lists conversations with timestamps that were all in real time over the past 4 years or so. And the time and date are listed for those conversations. So there's literal, like, firsthand experiences, observations for you to see how someone else has. Um, so it's just really important. There's a lot of things there. It's book 2 is very in depth and intense. It's very different in a way than book 1. So those of you who have read book 1, thank you for doing that. But yeah, it will definitely take an even deeper approach as to how everything has changed in the lives of some others. So very important.
Absolutely. And when you were explaining all of that, it was as if when it comes to that conscious connection, it's a broadcast, right? That master within us all is speaking to
Yeah.
us all in the writings that have been created for humanity to not only open up their mind, to open up their heart, and
Yes.
to remove these false belief systems or these false paradigms that have kept them in this box, so to say, when there is no walls in this box. It's unlimited, it's limitless, and it becomes that omnidirectional and omnipotency of who we are naturally designed to be.
Yeah.
And it's so wonderful because we get to just be present. And also, too, I just wanted to add, if anyone wants to find either book, you can find it on Amazon or Barnes and Noble. And your book will be released in the next week.
It's going to be very soon. Right now, it's in copyright stages. So it has been officially sent to the publisher. We have gone through any editing that the publisher has kicked back to us, and we have resent to the publisher. So now it's literally in copyright stages at a worldwide place where they do all of the copywriting. And they're looking at the pictures, somebody has to read through the entire book to make sure, of course, that we have not plagiarized anything like that. But considering this is all new material that has never been written before, there's no issues there. So
Of
we're
course.
just through the normal process of whenever that gets through. It should be very soon. It should be this summer. We have done everything on our end. It's in the publisher and copywriter hands now. So yes,
soon enough. Yeah.
So it will be available on Amazon and Barnes and Noble, and it's going to be available paperback. It'll be English and Spanish. So
Beautiful.
the huge major languages of the world, we want people to be able to have this in their hands and be able to understand it. So those two translations will be there of it.
Beautiful. I'm so excited. It's going to be revolutionary. And do you have anything you want to add to the audience?
It's been a huge privilege to write with Israel Izzy. Just amazing. I am so grateful to have the opportunity to be a co-author, to have that offered to me, to be trusted with that, because the type of material this is, it was a gift to me from my perspective to even have been involved. I mean, the gift to me was the writing of it in itself, to be able to be experience it all, to have been trusted with something this big that will impact humanity for years to come. And so I just want to express my gratitude, and I want to say thank you to the people who will read it, because I understand that you are loving yourself whenever you are reading these books. And that's just so beautiful to me. That's so essential. You will help other people in reading it for yourself, and you will help yourself too. We're all one. So this is literally your message to yourself, essentially, through these books. And if you have the trust to believe that, it will work wonders. There's no way it can't.
Absolutely. And we'll just throw it out to the audience to see if they have any questions, and then we'll come back and see what it is that anyone would like us to answer. And when it comes to these writings, I feel as if when you started this process, it was an opening up, right, for the vessel, the conduit, the instrument, to have a deeper trust to every fiber of the beingness. So when things were being written, it's not like, wait, my mind doesn't understand this, or my heart doesn't understand this, because you already knew when you were writing it pen to paper, you were that conduit and instrument to write these new ideas or new understandings for all of humanity to get and reassure within their own life, right? Because a lot of people are having these experiences and they're still doubting it. And they're doubting themselves because there's so much resistance with the conditioning. They're like, whoa, 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 whoa. And it's like when you let go of that resistance and the conditioning or the polarization, it's like, oh, okay. It becomes like this sort of like whole new wish or dream that you've dreamed before. And you get to be the embodiment and living this magnificent so-called dream.
Yeah. Whenever I was writing uh, everything that I wrote in the book, it was not, like I said, it was not just me that wrote it like as a normal person. I did not get to read the book until it was finished.
Mhm.
So, I mean, the only part that I knew about was my bio that I wrote
Right.
about like my own history of my life. So, hey, sweetheart. My daughter's, but yes.
Awesome.
Yes.
I
She's like,
got you.
no.
You do it. How you
Well,
doing?
but
Oh,
yeah,
that's awesome. Beautiful. Well, I'm so excited to read it. And it's in such an awesome. Hi, kiddo. How are you doing, cuteness? How you doing? Hi. How you doing?
she's good.
Uh,
She's happy, of course.
of course, she knows mom's on fire energetically. Oh, I love it. Well, awesome. I don't see too many questions coming other than, is there any way that they can tune to this natural frequency? I know we covered that, yet something that's more tangible. Do you know what I'm saying? Because like these are just words we're speaking and a vibration we're offering. Yet most humans still want tangibility. And I feel like when they pick up that book or books, they'll get that tangibility as
Ex-
well as understanding to the core of what they're creating in this tangible world that we call heaven on earth or life, being alive.
Sort of the point of the book is that it is a tangible thing you can hold in your hand, read as many times, and every time you read it, it will show up differently for you. There will be a different message there for each individual, something you didn't see before. Just like whenever you watch a movie multiple times, you see something you didn't see that was there before. And so it's sort of like a gift that keeps on giving, but it grows with you.
Mhm.
To have the experience through the book, it's you hear from yourself multiple times. So it's just so nice. It is like the answer to the prayer for something tangible. it, I mean,
Yes.
you it that way, what humanity has asked for.
Yeah, and this is just the beginning. Wait for 3 and 4 and 5.
Yes, there will be more that are written.
Uh,
And book 3 has been started already as well. So yes, there is definitely more to come. This series
yes.
is by any means almost done. So
No, we're
it
just in the beginning.
it will grow with everyone. It will grow with humanity, and just a lot of good information. There's great examples in there from Israel's life. Still, the book starts off with more examples from his life as a continuation from book 1. So yeah, it's one of those things. You just have to read it for yourself, because it will speak to you differently than it will someone else, but it'll speak to you always at the level that you're at and what you're able to handle and comprehend at that time. It won't give you too much. So
And I feel
uh,
like you don't want to miss out on it.
like for me, like whenever I was reading it like for the first time, then I was like, are you serious? Like, this is amazing. And I was reading it as I was editing it. And like, I was like, there's stuff in here that I could read and apply to my life right now. I'm
Yeah.
just like, it's almost like unbelievable in a way that this was written through me, as what, because I'm sitting here like, oh, I could take that advice. Or, you would think that, oh, as one of the authors, that I would specifically have mastered that or something by now as a human. And that's not always the case, which I found amazing, because it's not just a normal book. I didn't write it from my own specific knowledge as a normal person,
Of
right?
course.
So it's going to grow with even me. And so it's like
Yeah.
a training me as well, just as much as anyone else that is going to read that. So
One other thing, do you find reading it out loud will help illuminate the being itself, whoever decides to read it,
I
or
think that
to transform them in a sense?
I think that if that particular thing resonates with the individual, then sure, it will help them. Otherwise, it's just whatever resonates with you as the reader, because it will meet you where you're at. Maybe one day you do feel like reading it out loud, but if not, that doesn't mean that it's not gonna help you either. Yeah. So
Wonderful. Awesome. Do you have anything else you would like to let the audience know?
I want to let them know where they can find us.
Of course.
Right? And
Yes.
there's a couple of us that are doing life coaching sessions and things like that. I'm sure that whenever book 2 comes out, it will be posted on the website as well. You're the one that handles that, so thank you for doing that. But aside from the website, it will be on Amazon, Barnes and Noble. But yeah, please check us out, onenessprojectlight.com. We are always there to help you. Feel free to reach out to me, add me on Facebook, reach out to Jacqueline, do the same with her. We just are so grateful that you've been able to join us all this time for this interview, and just really appreciate you guys as an audience. And Jacqueline.
And we'll put all the links down below so everyone has access to it as well. And we'll come back to it and drop the book as soon as everything is done. And yes, thank you for saying yes.
Page, the Izzy Kelly page, there will be updates. I will post about it on my personal profile, of course, whenever the book does come out as well. So yes, keep watching this page. Watch for more interviews from Jacqueline. She does these every single Saturday at 3 p.m. Eastern Daylight Time. So yeah, keep watching. Look for more things.
Absolutely. And if you would like to join us for a free private event, it's the Oneness Intention Circle, and it's the last Sunday of every month at 9 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. So all are welcome. Just sign up to register for the Zoom and the forms, so then you can be added to the list and join us. I'm so excited. Thank you again, Michelle, for all that you do for the team, for humanity, for you. I love you so much.
I love it.
Awesome. We are one. Awesome. Well, thanks, friends, for joining us today. And we just want to say thank you. And we look forward to seeing more of you.
Indeed. Bye.